Welcome to the latest edition of Head to Head then, as we preview the biggest match of the Premier League this weekend. No doubt about where the big game is taking place. It's the Etihad Stadium for Manchester City against Leicester. Third entertaining second. City looking to close the gap on Leicester and Liverpool ahead of them in the league table. But this is a Foxes side who have been in brilliant form right throughout the campaign, and Brendan Rodgers' men will have no fear at the Etihad Stadium come 5:30 on Saturday afternoon. I've got Dan, who's going to be talking up Manchester City's chances next to me. Tom will be trying to persuade us that Leicester are going to win this one. And we'll start with round one, and that is who is going to win the game. City starting as 1-3 favourites for this one. You can get 7-1 on Leicester to come out on top, and a draw is available at 9-2. Dan, looks pretty obvious in terms of City to win this one, but they have had their issues at home this season, beaten by Wolves and Manchester United at home already.
They have had their issues at home, but they are starting to get back to something what is like their best form. They've won the last 3 in all competitions, scoring 10 goals in that period. It's been well documented that it's been a difficult season for them so far, but some of the players you'd expect to be on form are beginning to hit those heights as well, particularly in the game against Arsenal last weekend. It was an absolute virtuoso performance from Kevin De Bruyne. He pulled the strings throughout the contest. He set up a goal for Raheem Sterling and scored a couple himself. Gabriel Jesus, who's back in the lineup ahead of Sergio Aguero, who's still got that injury. He's beginning to get back into form as well. 5 goals in his last 5 appearances.
Yeah, so plenty of talent on the City side of things, but Leicester aren't short of quality players themselves, Tom, and they go to the Etihad Stadium on an excellent run away from home.
Absolutely, they've been superb, particularly on the road this season. Only Liverpool and Manchester United have beaten them on their travels, and particularly over recent weeks. The last 4 games, they've won them all on the road, scoring a staggering 17 goals during that time. I think Jamie Vardy, obviously leading the way in that regard, but there's lots of other players chipping in as well. And let's not forget, Leicester are above Manchester City in the table. They will stay above them regardless of this result. So that tells you that they're having a better season, they're a better team at the moment than Pep Guardiola's side. And when was the last time Leicester were a better team than City? It was their title-winning campaign 3 years ago. What was the result in this corresponding fixture then? It was a 3-1 victory for Leicester, so I'm confident that Leicester can get another win this time round too.
Tom, very confident there. And I have to say, I'm leaning towards Leicester on this one. I do fancy them for an upset, so I'm going to give the first round to Tom and Leicester. Moving on to round 2, which is player bets. Now, from a City side of things, Dan, plenty of players to pick from when looking for goal scorers. Sterling, Jesus, De Bruyne, all been in great form of late.
Yeah, they certainly have, and I'm going to go with Raheem Sterling for my choice to score a brace or more at 8-1. He's been absolutely outstanding this season. He did have a quiet patch, which did coincide with Manchester City's kind of slightly poor run towards the middle part of this season, but he scored a couple recently. He's been back in form, and I think as well, regardless of which side he plays on, Ricardo Pereira and Ben Chilwell get so far forward that will leave gaps for Sterling to be able to exploit. He's a proper bona fide goal scorer now, and I think he'll hurt Leicester.
And what about somebody other than Jamie Vardy maybe for Leicester to score?
Well, Vardy's the obvious choice, isn't he? He's scored in 8 games in a row until last week's draw of Norwich in the league. And even then, he's unfortunate, really. He didn't get given the goal Leicester scored. It went down as a Tim Krul own goal. So Vardy's the obvious choice. He's 2-1 at any time. So I think there's decent enough value there considering his recent goal-scoring record. The one I would look at, though, for a bit more value is James Maddison. He's 11-2 to score any time. He's not a regular scorer for Leicester, but he takes the majority of their free kicks. He's got an eye for a spectacular from long range, so Manchester City will have to watch out for that. And he did grab one in the Carabao Cup during the week against Everton, so confidence in that regard will be high. So Maddison 11-2, anytime scorer.
Yeah, I do like that, but Sterling is certainly in banging form right now. 18 goals already this season, so I'll give round 2 to Dan and Manchester City. So that levels it up going into round number 3 then, which is long shot bets, correct scores, red cards. Dan, what have you picked out for this category?
This one might be a bit ambitious, but I've gone for City to win by a 3-goal margin. I do think they are beginning to get back to their best form. I mentioned the Arsenal game earlier, and they absolutely took them apart last Sunday. I know Arsenal aren't the force they used to be, but you can't take any credit away from City in that regard. And I would say that as well because Leicester have just started to wobble a bit in the last week. They should have beaten Norwich, let's not forget, they're a side currently in the bottom three of the table. And it did take a penalty shootout to beat Everton, another side who've been poor this season. A 2-goal advantage, they squandered that. And I just think City have got a little bit more about them at the moment. As well, City have won 6 of the last 7 meetings. That's got to have some psychological effect going into this.
And what about Leicester then, or picking out a long shot bet for the Leicester side of things?
Well, I gave a sneak peek of it earlier on, I suppose, because I'm going for a 3-1 Leicester victory, just as they achieved during their title-winning campaign. That's a 66-1 shot, so it is a real outsider bet, if you like. But logic dictates for me that Leicester are really good going forward. City a suspect at the back. And you just think Jamie Vardy running up against either a Fernandinho, an Otamendi, a John Stones, whatever central defensive partnership that City go for, I think Vardy's going to put fear into all of them. And, he'll be leading the way. I've mentioned Maddison before. Leicester bombing forward with those fullbacks. There's going to be goals there for them to score. I do think City will find the back of the net as well. Leicester, although they've got the meanest defence in the division, have conceded in the last couple of games, and we know City's attacking talent, but I'm just leading towards Leicester's firepower driving them home, and 3-1, 66-1 shot.
I like those odds, 66-1, big enough for a nice Christmas present. So I'm going to give it to Tom and Leicester City just to edge this one. So Leicester to come out on top is, the head-to-head opinion anyway of myself and Tom. So we'll be back with more videos. Stay tuned to our YouTube channel for all of our latest content. And don't forget to subscribe and stay up to date with all of our social media updates.